Hi, all right. Welcome to yoga. I am Annalisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. And let's find a comfortable place to sit, either on the floor or maybe in a chair, whatever feels better for you. And I invite you to close your eyes or take a downward gaze and just start to connect. Turn your awareness inward, start to connect with yourself, and start to just notice how you're feeling today. Taking a little inventory. Start to feel the support of whatever is underneath you. Be it the mat or a chair. And start to take some bigger, fuller breaths. Invite your breath to grow a little deeper on the inhale and on the exhale. Take a few long, slow, deep breaths in and release them out, either through the nose or through the mouth. You might even try both ways just to notice which feels better for you. Sending your breath deeper into the lungs, expanding more on the inhale, and letting the breath come up and out, pouring out of you on the exhale. And after your last exhale, you can just return to a normal breathing pattern, maybe just noticing how you're feeling. And then invite some softness and relaxation all through the body. So perhaps tuning into those areas that you know holds more tension for you. Maybe the abdomen, the belly, maybe the back. If you're sitting, try to, as you invite this relaxation, try to keep a little bit of tension to keep yourself sitting upright so you don't just relaxedly melt into the ground. But perhaps even checking in with the shoulders, the neck, the face, the jaw. Taking a few moments to just soften, relax. Notice how that changes the breath and how you're feeling. And start to take the awareness into the senses. So noticing the feel of the clothes on your skin. And perhaps noticing the air moving around on the skin, on the clothes. And reaching out to notice the sounds that might be around you. Perhaps far away, and closer to you. Perhaps noticing any smells or tastes that might be present for you. And then while your eyes might be closed, maybe notice any play of light or shadow on the eyelids. Or if your eyes are still open, just gently get a visual sense. And take your awareness now into the mind, noticing any thoughts, feelings, or emotions that might be present. And just acknowledge them and let them be. And then just becoming aware of this present moment, just as it is, being a silent witness. And allowing yourself to be just as you are. Take another big full breath in and out. And during our last session, I started to bring up some of the ethics of yoga, the yamas. And last time we talked about ahimsa, or nonviolence, or also compassion. And today I'd like to introduce Satya, which is truthfulness or non-deception. And from one of my training manuals, Satya is described as practicing conscious communication through speech, writing, gesture, and actions. Consider what you say, how you say it, and in what way it could affect others. And so I invite you to think about Satya, truth. And another place I saw that the best way to practice truth is to decrease our practice of untruth. So we all have moments of truth and untruth. And so I invite the awareness of truth and untruth, and to just sit with this for a moment, just this intention of truth, and also reflecting upon its opposite. And just take a few moments to notice how that sits with you. Notice what comes up when you think about truth and untruth. And I invite you to bring this awareness of Satya into your practice today, and maybe just let it resonate with you throughout the rest of your week. So as a group, let's take a big full breath in and a big full breath out. And if your eyes are closed, I invite you to open them. If they've been taking a downward gaze, raise your gaze back up. And if you have anything underneath you, move it out of the way. And we'll all move into a seated position and lean back a little bit onto your hands, supporting yourself with your hands and arms. Bring your feet out in front of you and just start to invite a little windshield wiper motion into your legs. Tipping your toes up towards the ceiling so your pivot point is on the heels. Opening your legs up just a little bit, creating a little bit more space, and just start to invite this internal and external rotation into the hips. Maybe even bringing a little sway into the torso, to the head and neck, just gently. Maybe even as you rock over to one side, you bring more weight over into that side, into the arm, and the hand comes up a little bit off the floor, so you sway a little bit more. And then bring that movement to a close and start to bring your heels a little bit closer so that you can bring your legs into a 90-90 position. And then if it feels comfortable, bring your heels a little bit more away from your body. But know that if there's any discomfort, you can always bring the heels in a little bit closer. So setting up in a 90-90 position with our knees towards the right, start to turn your body towards the right, coming into a little bit of a gentle twist. Not forcing anything, just twisting the body, maybe looking a little bit behind you, over the shoulder. Taking a few breaths here. And then coming out of the twist a little bit, turning to face the right knee. Extend your left arm, reaching out. So you might twist a little bit here as you reach the arm. And then maybe reach up a little bit so that you come more into a little bit of a side stretch. So you can move, keeping the arm outstretched. Move the torso, move the rib cage a little bit, finding some movement in the upper body, creating some stretch, just starting to feel, starting to bring some movement, maybe bringing the hand up and down a little bit. Always moving mindfully and doing what feels right for you. My words and actions are just suggestions, so make sure they feel true within your body. And then lift yourself up, bring the arm up and over, maybe bring the hands and arms behind you, and turn your legs, turn your knees over to the other side, creating that 90-90 position towards the left. Setting up here, and then gently twisting towards the left without wrenching yourself around. Just take a few breaths. Noticing where you feel this in your body. Adjusting yourself if you need to. And then gently coming out of that twist, facing towards the left knee. And then extend your right arm now, reaching out, and then start to explore on this side. So perhaps turning the rib cage towards the front, opening up, maybe moving the hand down to the floor and moving the hand up and behind you a little bit more. Just start to explore as you breathe and move. Don't forget to consider the hand that's behind you, the support. If you need to change that position, that's okay. And then bring the arm up and over and behind you, coming bringing the arms behind you, coming to more of a center position. You can find a comfortable seat here. You can cross the legs. You can let the legs be outstretched. I might sit like this for a moment. And if you feel like you're curving too much behind you, grab a cushion, grab a folded blanket to just create a little bit of height. And that will often take that kind of hunched over feeling out of the situation. So wherever you're sitting, bend your elbows up, bring your arms to about shoulder height to a goalpost or a cactus arm position. And so with the fingertips pointed up, then start to slowly, keeping your upper arms at the shoulder height, start to turn your arms inward, rotating, coming to about mid-height. So stopping in the middle, stopping when your fingertips are about parallel with your upper arms. And then come back, fingertips towards the ceiling. Then back to that mid-range point, and then back up. And take a few moments here, just noticing this movement, kind of the top half. And then next time you come to center, pause for a moment. See if you can bring your shoulders, bring your elbows, direct them a little bit more behind you, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then release. Actually bring the forearms kind of over top of each other in front, and then open back behind you, elbows back behind, shoulder blade squeeze, and then come back in front, let the other forearm cross on top. And then come back to shoulder height, fingertips are pointed in front of you. And now this time, start to direct the fingertips downward, the lower arms down, and then come back to the mid-range point. And down and back. And so moving at your own pace, explore this sort of bottom half of the move. And now, next time you come to mid-height, and keep in mind you can take your arms down, give a little shake out at any time. So come back to fingertips pointing forward, and now move the fingertips towards the ceiling, and then to center, and now downward. So we're creating the sort of full arc of this rotation through the shoulders and arms. And then pause at the goalpost position. If you need to adjust your legs, feel free to do that. And then keep your right fingertips pointed towards the ceiling as you turn your left fingertips down towards the floor. And then switch. Take the right fingertips down and the left fingertips up. And then alternate mindfully. Feeling this wherever you feel it. Shaking it out if you need to and coming back when you want to, if you're able to. It's okay if you need to just take a break and try again next time. And then pause here with the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And from here, open your left arm out with the palm facing up. And then extend your right arm with the palm facing down. All right, so reach the fingertips apart. And now moving from your shoulders, start to reverse that. So the left elbow pit was facing towards the ceiling. So now imagine that you've got a cup in there. You're going to pour that out towards the floor as you turn the other elbow pit up. So right elbow pit now. And so then move from side to side here. Feel this spiraling action. Maybe even the hand that turns down, maybe it turns a little bit behind you if that feels right for you. So imagine almost it's like a ringing kind of a sensation, but creating length throughout the fingertips. And we started first a slow movement, but as you start, if you feel comfortable doing this, you can start to speed it up a little bit more, and it becomes a little bit like a little dance move. Maybe even shimmying it a little bit more, and then letting that go, shaking everything out. Even bringing your fingertips towards to the tops of your shoulders and just doing a little elbow circles here. Breathing, going in both directions. And making any movements to release, maybe even giving a little tap love to the top of the shoulders, because we just a lot of strengthening, bringing some awareness there. All right. And just pause if you can. Bring your hands to the top of your shoulders. Just give yourself a little bit of a hug, just with the hands on top of the shoulders. Breathe in and out, and then inhale the arms out wide, and then switch your arms. Bring the hands on top of the shoulders again. Inhale and exhale. And keeping your elbows in by your sides, then turn your palms upward and start to move the thumbs back behind you, and then bring the hands in towards the midline. Rotating out, coming back in. Rotating out, coming back in, feeling the squeeze in the shoulder blade area. And then keeping the elbows in by your sides, raise your fingertips up, and then just actually make fists and make some circles with your fists. So the movement is at the wrist, rotating through the wrist, and going in the other direction. And then give your fingertips a bit of a wiggle as you open them up, widening the fingers. Maybe turning the palms down, noticing how that feels, turning the palms up. And then lastly, reach up towards the ceiling, fingertips up towards the ceiling, and imagine that you're grabbing hold of a bar, and then pull it down slowly. And then press it back up. Maybe even imagine that you're pressing something up. So even bring the palms of the ceilings, or palms towards the ceilings, pressing up slowly, then grab on, pull down, and once more, press up, slowly imagining, and then give the arms, shoulders a shake out, bring the hands on top of the legs, give your shoulders a roll. Going in both directions, moving together or separately. And now let's bring ourselves to all fours to a tabletop position. So if you like, you can bring something under that cushion if you had it under your knees, or you can move it off to the side and come to all fours. Hands and wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. And press the floor away from you, feeling the shoulder blades draw apart. And then allow your body to relax down in between the arms. Shoulder blades draw together, imagining that maybe the floor rose back up, pressing your arms. Trying to keep your arms pretty straight without hyperextending. And if you can, turn your elbow pits forward. And then press the floor away. And then relax down between the arms. Press the floor away. Imagine the floor presses back. Once more, press the floor away and relax down. And then press up a little bit more so you come to a kind of a midpoint position. Neutral spine. And then inhale, your belly drops down, your chin and tailbone reach towards the ceiling. And then exhale, round your spine towards the ceiling and tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. Inhale, belly drops down. Exhale, round the spine. Do a few more of these on your own, exploring the movement of your spine. And then come back to neutral spine, to the tabletop position, and then start to walk yourself back to bring your seat towards your heels. And then bring your forearms down to the floor, elbows in front of the knees. And you might even, if it feels more comfortable, maybe even walk the forearms a little bit forward. And you could curl the toes under, whatever feels more comfortable. And bring your right fingertips to behind the ear, your right ear, and then inhale, the elbow reaches towards the ceiling. Exhale, elbow meets the left elbow. Inhale, elbow lifts. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Moving just from the upper body. Inhale and exhale. Once more. Inhale, up. Exhale, elbow to elbow, and then replace. Take a pause, notice how you're feeling, and even press the floor away here, pressing the forearms, the elbows into the floor. Taking a breath, and then coming to the other side. Left fingertips behind the left ears. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift, and down. Two more. And this time, when your elbows meet your elbows, you can let the forearm come down, pressing into the floor. Now, even walking, coming to where your elbows are under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. So it's like we've come from the tabletop position. You might even walk yourself out this way and then bring the forearms down. And turn your palms towards the ceiling and press the elbows, press the forearms, press the wrists, press the back of the hand into the floor. The fingernails, can you press those in a little bit more? Check in with your neck. Let it hang loosely. Move it around. Maybe even turning your head from side to side gently as you press those forearms into the floor, pressing the floor away. And then returning to all fours onto your hands. And extend your right leg behind you, curling the right toes under. And then lift the heel a bit. And then bring the toes down. And then lift your heel and down. Once more, lift the heel, toes come up off the floor just a little bit, extending the foot away from you. And then bring that foot down, bring the knee back underneath the hip. Then extend your left leg behind you, toes curled under. Pressing into the floor with your hands and with the right knee, then lift your heel, toes come up a little bit off the floor and down. Lift and down. And last time, lift and down. Recenter here. Press the floor away from you and extend your right leg, toes curled under. Extend your left leg, toes curled under. Try for a plank for a moment, knowing that at any time you can always come down with the knees onto the floor. Take a few moments here. And then bring the knees down. Sit back onto your heels for a moment and give your arms a bit of a shake. Maybe give a little pull through the hands and wrists. Breathe. Notice how you're feeling. Come back to table position. Curl your toes under. Press the floor away from you. And then lift your hips up and back, coming into downward dog. And just begin to bend and straighten your legs. Walking your dog a little bit, bringing some movement, maybe even through the whole body. And then pause. You can keep your knees deeply bent and transfer your weight into your left foot and leg, and then raise your right leg behind you, taking the heel up towards the ceiling, the toes point down. And then bring that leg down. Transfer your weight now into the right foot and leg, and extend the left leg behind you. Heel points up towards the ceiling. And then bring that down. Go ahead and lower your knees towards the floor, uncurling the toes if you wish. You can try both ways. And then extend your left arm out in front of you and start to sink your hips back a little bit, but extending the fingertips forward so you start to create a stretch. Bending your right elbow a little bit more. Maybe even walking the fingertips around to find just the right feeling. Whatever that feeling is for you. Of walking the left fingertips around. And then gently return back to table. And then extend the right arm in front of you, reach the right fingertips forward and start to sink your hips back a little bit, bringing your forehead closer to the floor, and begin to feel some stretch on this right side. Perhaps walking the fingertips around to find just the right side stretch, or wherever you happen to be feeling the stretch. And then gently rise back to table, and then sit back on your seat for a moment, onto your heels. And give a little shoulder roll, a little shake out of the arms. And check where you are on the mat. You might come to the kind of back end of your mat so you have some space out in front of you. And rise up onto your knees into this high kneeling position, and then perhaps bringing your arms to your hands to your hips, or you can have your arms out a little bit. We're going to practice getting up off the floor without using the arms. Now, you can surely use the arms as a balance. You can also bring a chair over or have a wall nearby. That's totally okay, but it's just trying a little way of getting up and down. That will also be useful movement-wise. So take a step forward with your right foot and curl your left toes under, and then slowly rise into a bit of a lunge here. And then slowly step the left foot forward. Now, slowly step your left leg back. Start to curl the toes under as you start to bend the knees. Gently bring the left knee back down. Bring your right leg back in, and then sit back down onto your heels. Rise up again onto your knees. This time step the left foot forward, perhaps curling the right toes under as you press into the foot, into the toes, coming into a lunge position, and then slowly transfer your weight forward and bring your right foot forward to standing. And then slowly direct that right foot back. Start to bend the knees, gently placing the right knee on the floor, bringing the left knee in to join it, and then coming down to the seat. We'll do that once more on either side. So, rising up, stepping forward, rising into the lunge, transfer your weight forward, come to standing. Take that left leg back once more, leaning the weight forward. As you step back, bend the knee, gently placing it down, bringing the knees together, and sit back down. And then the left side. Press the left foot in, raise yourself to standing, come to standing. Slowly take the right leg back, begin to bend the knees deeply, gently place the right knee down, then the left knee, and then come back to your seat. Now walk yourself into table again, curl your toes under, press your seat up towards the ceiling, your hips up towards the ceiling, coming into downward dog, pressing the floor away from you. And then either begin to walk the feet towards the hands or the hands towards the feet. And let your knees bend and let your torso and head hang. You might even bring the hands to the opposite elbows to hang here in ragdoll. Pressing the feet into the floor. Your knees can always keep a bend. Press your hips towards the ceiling. Maybe you might even feel a little shaking. That's okay. Now, release your hands, bend your knees, and walk your hands up to your thighs. And keeping your knees deeply bent, start to turn towards you're going to move your feet. So now you're going to be facing the long edge of your mat. So facing the long edge of your mat, then begin to heel toe your feet apart a little bit. Coming into almost a half squat with wide legs, and begin to transfer your weight from one side to the other. So start to move torso, sliding your hips more towards the left side, and then slowly bending the right leg, straightening the left leg, and move from side to side here. And as you do this, start to walk your hands up a little bit more so that your torso is more upright. But you continue moving from side to side gently. And the next time that we move to the right, I invite you to bring more weight into the right, transfer all your weight, and start to bring, whoop, you may drag your mat along with it, that might happen. Drag your foot over so that the toe stays on the floor, but now we're on the right side. Most of the weight is in the right leg. Then step that left leg out, come down, and then come over towards the other side. You might need to adjust your mat if you're sliding your foot like I was. Step down into a squat and then rise up onto the right. Squat into the center and then to the left. This time, as we step over to the right, you may keep your foot, your toe, your foot on the floor, or maybe raise your left foot up, raising the knee. Then stepping into the center, maybe bringing your hands to prayer position or to your hips or wherever it feels better. Experiment with your arms. You can keep the foot on the ground over on the left side or raise the foot and the knee. Squat, lift, squat, and lift. I invite you to do this a few times on your own. You don't have to go at the same pace as I am. Listen to your body. Now that we're over, next time you're over onto the right, consider twisting a little bit more as you either keep your foot, the left foot on the ground or raise the left foot. Consider twisting slightly, taking your arms over to the left. And then arms come back into center as we squat in the middle. Then moving over to the left. Consider if you'd like to twist towards the right. Come back to center. And perhaps explore a few of these twists. Any wobbles are just helping you get stronger. Keeping the toes on the floor, that helps too. You're paying attention to your body's needs. Okay, once more either side. And the next time you complete something to the left, come back to the middle, squat down, and rise up. And just allow your hips to move slightly from side to side. Maybe closing your eyes, pausing your movement, and just noticing how you're feeling. Let your eyes open, and I invite you to move your feet back to a little bit more of a hip width, pelvis width, comfortable stance. Adjusting your mat if you need to, if it got dragged out of the way. And once again, as we were doing before, let's transfer your weight into your right leg, pressing your foot into the floor. So listing or tilting a little bit towards the right, you'll start to feel your foot begin to peel up off the floor. Pressing your right foot in, you may even feel the toes lift up. And then let the weight come back to center. And then begin to tilt, to lean, to list towards the left, pressing your left foot into the mat, pressing the floor away. You might start to feel your right leg and foot lifting up off the floor. And then set your foot back down, centering yourself. Now lean again towards the right, pouring that weight into the right foot, pressing the floor away, perhaps feeling the left foot lift. Now, you have the option to stay here and experiment just with how this feels, pressing the floor away. Or I invite you to begin to bend the knee a little bit. Perhaps bringing it in front of you, maybe just a little bit out to the side. Again, pressing the right foot into the floor. So you almost feel like you're rising up and out of the floor, breathing. Then if your knee is lifted so your thigh is kind of parallel towards the ceiling, then start to bring your knee down so that the knees are closer together. And then you may stay here, and I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see what I'm talking about. So the knees are closer together and the thighs are kind of vertical. Then I invite you to start to lean a little bit at the hip, hinging at the hip, keeping a nice long flat back, pressing your right foot into the floor as you extend the crown of the head towards whatever's in front of you and extending the leg behind you. Feel free to play with height. Imagining you're like that bird, that little bird toy that sits on the edge of a glass and kind of tips its beak down into the water. You may even like to do that. Noticing the engagement of the standing leg muscle. Pressing that foot into the floor. And then on your next inhale, come back to standing, release. And just shake some things out here. Shake your legs. Maybe shift your hips a little bit from side to side. Then come back to comfortable standing position, and we'll try this on the other side. So begin to lean over towards the left, pressing that foot into the floor. Now remember, this is where you could stay, just keeping your foot pressing into the floor, pressing the floor away, just keeping your finger or your toe tips just lightly off the floor. If you like, you could have a wall nearby or a chair, a small child. So you might like to stay here, but if you'd like a little bit more, keep pressing the floor away and begin to bend your knee and bring the knee a little bit up and maybe out in front of you, maybe towards the side, pressing the floor away, lifting up. If you feel called to do something with your arms, like reaching up, feel free. Then, if the knee is up, I invite you to bring it down so that the knee is pointed down towards the floor. Press the floor away from you again. And then I invite you to start to hinge at the hips, starting to lower your torso towards the floor, keeping a nice long flat spine. And then you can extend the leg behind you a little bit more and begin to play with this feeling. Pressing the foot into the floor. It's okay. Your hips are probably not going to square down towards the floor since you're pressing away, and that's okay. If you'd like to slightly come up and then come back down. I've got a wall behind me right now, so I can't extend my leg quite as far. So I'll just play with what I feel. Checking in with how the shoulders and neck feel. Again, you might find that you'd like to just have your arms by your sides, on the hips. Just keep pressing the floor away. And next inhale, start to come up, and then exhale, release. Give your legs a shake. Whew. Give your hips a little shake out, whatever you find that you need. Slide them a little bit from side to side. And then turn to face the front of your mat again, and just slide your hands down your legs, bending your legs a little bit to rest your torso on your thighs. Letting your knees bend so that your hands or fingertips can come down to the floor. Pause here for a moment, just letting your torso rest on the thighs. And then press the floor away from you with your feet as you raise your hips towards the ceiling, keeping a little bend in the knees. Give a little nod or a shake to the head. Breathe here. If this doesn't really feel quite comfortable, try widening your stance a little bit more. Then, keeping the knees bent, start to walk your hands more forward, coming down onto your knees into a table position, curling your toes under and extending one leg, extending the other, coming into a plank. Pressing the floor away from you, expanding the shoulder blades. Does this feel different from the first time we did it? Then gently lower your knees and gently lower yourself all the way down onto your belly, making a little pillow for the hands, and rest your head onto your hand pillow. Perhaps inviting a little bit of just a side-to-side sway of the body, kind of swinging the heels, swinging the hips a little bit, just creating a little bit of a rock through the body. Kind of your own personal hammock. And then let that rocking motion come to a close and just observe. Bring your hands beneath your shoulders or a little bit more back by your chest and gently press yourself up to all fours, and then press your hips back towards your heels, directing your forehead down towards the floor, coming into child's pose. Or another position that might feel more comfortable for you. It could even be coming to this kneeling position that we've done before. Letting your eyes close and just observing, breathing, relaxing. Now, taking your time, if your arms are stretched out in front of you, start to walk them in towards your knees, coming into a kneeling position. And then letting your hips come to one side and rolling onto your back, coming all the way down onto the back, onto the floor. Keeping your knees bent at first with your soles of the feet on the floor. Feet are about hip width or maybe a little bit wider. And then reach your arms up overhead, reaching the fingertips behind you, and then bend your elbows so that your arms make a goalpost or cactus arms position. And take a breath or two here. Now bring your arms by your sides and bring the feet in a little bit closer towards you and lift your hips slightly and take them over towards the left. And then allow your knees to come in towards your chest and then to rock over, roll over towards the right. You can use your right hand to hold the outside of the left leg. If it feels not that great to have the legs come all the way over, if you feel like they're just going to be dangling strangely in the air, feel free to get some pillows or cushions, blankets. I'll show you on the other side, to squeeze them, just kind of shove them under your knees so that your knees have something, or the legs have something to rest on rather than just hanging out there. That could feel a lot better for your low back, lots of places. Now take an inhale and gently raise your top leg and gently roll back onto the back, placing the soles of the feet onto the floor again. Press the feet into the floor, lift the hips slightly towards the right. Then raise your feet up off the floor, bringing the knees in towards the chest and letting the knees go over to the left. Maybe it's this side that might need a little bit of propping. You can use your left hand to hold the outside of the right leg, if that might feel good. If you know another variant of this supine spinal twist, feel free to take that as well. On your next inhale, allow your top leg to rise, gently rolling onto your back. allowing the soles of the feet to come down to the floor once again. And we'll start to move into Shavasana, our final relaxation position. You may want to stay just right where you are with the knees bent, the soles of the feet on the floor. Maybe you extend one or both of the legs. If your legs are extended, you might like to stick a pillow or a folded blanket beneath the knees. You might also like to have a cushion or a blanket under the head. You might even roll to the side or decide that you'd like to sit up today. Whatever position you decide to be in, make sure that you feel very comfortable. Adjusting the hips, the shoulders, the back of the head, or whatever you might need to. And take a few big, full breaths in and out. Feeling yourself softening a little bit more on every exhale into the support of whatever is beneath you. Feeling the ground rising up to cradle you. And take your awareness down to your feet. Feel your feet calm and relaxed. Allow the awareness to come up through your legs. Feel your legs softening and relaxing. Your hips calm and relaxed. Feel your abdomen soft and relaxed. Feel your lower back, mid back, and upper back soft and relaxed. Your chest and shoulders soft and relaxed. Arms and hands soft and relaxed. Shoulders and neck soft and relaxed. Head, face, and jaw soft and relaxed. Your entire body calm and relaxed. Begin to deepen your breath, deepening your awareness. And begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe even rubbing your thumb over your fingertips. Start to softly bring some more movement, a little stretch, whatever feels right, into the body. And gently rolling over onto your favorite side for a moment. Taking a breath. And keeping your eyes closed, gently press yourself into an upright seated position. And once you're there, let's all take a big full breath in and a big full breath out. Remember the intention we thought about at the beginning of the class of Satya, truthfulness, non-deception. Take a moment and think about how that resonates with you now. Maybe a moment that you felt very truthful springs to mind. And with just a sense of witnessing, of the non-judgment witnessing, maybe think for a moment of something untruthful that you may have done, thought, said. Just acknowledging that. And perhaps noticing how you might do differently if given the opportunity. We all have those moments because we are human. And the best we can do to try to practice truth is to decrease our practice of untruth. So let's take another big full breath in. And a big full breath out, maybe even releasing it as a sigh. Let's do one more of those. May we be free of suffering. May we have physical happiness. May we have mental happiness. May our hearts be at peace. You can allow your eyes to open. And I thank you so much for joining me today on this journey of breath and exploration of movement. And again, I invite you to sit with the idea of Satya, of truth, and just see how it resonates with you through the week. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again next time.